Welcome to video number 4 of my 13-part series of the 13 big mistakes that beginning saxophonists or even experienced saxophonists make that prevent them from moving up to the next level or even getting started playing the instrument. Now, in video number 4, I'm going to discuss something which is very controversial. This is the idea of linking how to play your saxophone with how well you read music. These are two very separate disciplines, and it's important not to link the two together. The truth is, playing your saxophone, you should spend a good deal of time, particularly in the beginning, playing your saxophone without reading sheet music, learning scales, learning to play up and down the range of the instrument, learning to play through different patterns, different things, without reference to sheet music. And here's the true problem here. The reality is this. Reading sheet music is a skill. It's like any skill. It's like the skill of how you can read and write right now. When you were born, you couldn't read and write. The same thing is with reading music. However, and this is an important point, the reason I have to mention such a fundamental point is because for many amateur musicians, and even some very experienced pros, reading music is a problem. But it's a problem because you never learned to read music properly in the first place. Most people are reading music by reading it by a letter. So in other words, when I pronounce the word cat, right? Instead of saying cat, I'm saying C-A-T, cat. Then I look at the next word, M-A-T, mat. This is literally how people are reading music. Now, there's a separate course on how to read music proficiently, but you don't need that to get started. What you need to get started, apart from the enthusiasm, is to actually play your instrument. And this is extremely important because you can't link the two. And the fact is this. You'll probably have to play the instrument daily for 18 months to 2 years before you start to sound good. This is the realities of playing a woodwind instrument. When you're playing a woodwind instrument such as the saxophone, you will not sound good instantly. This is not the piano where the tone is fixed and that your biggest worry is touch and how you move these fingers. No. The saxophone actually requires some work, and the reason why it requires such a time of up to 2 years is because your mouth is getting used to playing the instrument. There's something called embouchure, which is how your lips are placed around the mouthpiece, which I'm going to detail in my PlaySaxNow basics course. All these things come into play, but it's very important to realize that in that 2-year period, how you read music will make no difference on how you sound on the instrument. In fact, how well you read your music does not make any difference on how you sound on the instrument. I know seasoned veterans who've told me they struggle. None other than Cooke, Whelan himself. Well, I actually have a few videos below. I have some pictures with me and brother Cooke when he came to London to do a masterclass on Kyle Worth's saxophones, the saxophone which he has. And Cooke Whelan admitted I was about to quit myself at the time because I was thinking it's so hard to find work until Cooke made the point. Look, you know my solo on I Will Always Love You, which is the most copied pop solo and saxophone solo of all time. He said, if you listen to that solo carefully, the high G sharp is closer to A than it is to G sharp. He said, my technique in playing the saxophone is really homegrown and terrible. He said his saxophone technique is so violent that he has to have his neck reinforced. So he has his neck reinforced because he plays the saxophone moving around a lot. As a result of it, his neck snapped. So I had to have his neck have a special finish put on it and have these 2 pinions put on to brace the neck. And what Kyle Worth said is that, you know what? We love Cooke Whelan, so we're going to release the new limited edition Cooke Whelan neck for tenor saxophone. He says he struggles with playing in time. He struggles with reading music up to now. Struggles with fundamentals such as intonation. He's constantly using a tuning machine. He struggles with all these things. But this does not prevent Cooke Whelan becoming the most iconic pop saxophonist of our time. In fact, when you speak about gospel saxophone, you can't speak about gospel saxophone without speaking about Cooke Whelan. He was Whitney Houston's saxophonist until obviously the passing of Whitney, and Whitney sort of parted ways and went down until Whitney went down this drug-induced, self-destroying path, which ended in her death. However, Cooke Whelan is an exceptional player. He also makes the point that he uses circular breathing. So he doesn't teach people circular breathing because when he plays, he doesn't actually take breaths in. He keeps using circular breathing so much so that it's automatic. And he now has to break out of doing this because he's playing flute and singing and it's causing problems. So what I'm telling you here is that here is a Grammy Award winning player, very well regarded, but doesn't read music well. doesn't do the fundamentals, the technical fundamentals of playing the saxophone, he still struggles with. But he has not struggled to make a very good living playing the saxophone. So you have to ask yourself a question that do not link these things together. Is playing the saxophone important, or is reading sheet music more important? Actually, the truth is this: both are important, but of the two, learn to play the saxophone. Reading sheet music is actually really down to having little tricks and little ideas which you use continuously to allow you to reimagine and recreate the score you see on a page. This requires quite a bit of learning. However, you should not link these two together. I know of many saxophonists who do very well, who don't read music well. Many of the Jamaican saxophonists and West Indian saxophonists here in the UK don't read music well. People like Courtney Pine do not read music well. This is the truth. Unfortunately, most people rate them as poor saxophonists because they don't. This is not true. There's a world of saxophone playing which is out there, and more importantly, which is done by ear. And I argue that 90% of playing the saxophone, both professionally and in the community, is done by ear. The ability to read music, whilst wonderful, and don't get me wrong, I don't want you to get twisted, I teach reading music efficiently, the right way, so that you get it right the first time. Whilst wonderful, is not necessarily a massive prerequisite for progress on the saxophone. Reading music will allow you to see a whole world of different music and the rest, but at the same time, you must ask yourself a simple question. Do you want to play the horn, or do you want to sit down and go through the pain of trying to go through music theory on your own? And here's a fundamental which I believe to leave you with the music theory issue. The truth is, most music teachers, in fact, let's put it this way, the majority, loathe teaching the fundamentals of music, particularly since music is theory. Without the theory, music doesn't exist. This is an important point. There's sounds all around us. What's the difference between sound and noise? Organization. And that organization is called music theory and musicianship. So I have yet to find a single teacher who likes doing this. This is the truth. Very few teachers like teaching music theory, but it's the fundamentals. So as a result of that, I don't want you to get caught up in this whole idea that in order to be a true saxophonist, you have to read. No. In fact, the truth is, to be a true saxophonist, all you need to be able to do is play the instrument, play what you hear, even play what you feel in your heart. I know guys out there playing every day, doing well enough, who just play stuff they hear in their head, get a community of people around them, play this stuff, and, that works for them. So do not link these two together. More importantly, and this is the most important part, realize that learning to read music is a skill which is poorly taught. That's why you don't read it well. And it's a skill you can learn to do very well. And playing the saxophone is a complete other skill on its own. Don't link these two together, because this will really impede your progress. So I thank you for actually listening to this video, and more importantly, taking in this information. Again, make sure you like the video, put some comments below. I do read all my comments and I'll get back to you. Make sure you share it with other people who want to learn the saxophone. And most importantly, remember that you don't have to link playing the saxophone together with learning sheet music. This is not right, because at the end of the day, all this is going to do is going to impede your progress. Now, let's get on to what we're going to do in video number 5. Video number 5 is about playing alone for too long. I will explain the problem with this and the reason why you should think about playing with other people, and more importantly, the harsh admission of what happens when you decide to go up to that level of playing with other people. So I look forward to seeing you in video number 5, which is the big mistake of playing alone for too long. So remember to go and play your sax now.